Are you struggling to fall asleep at night, tossing and turning for hours? In this video, I'm going to reveal why magnesium might be the sleep solution you've been looking for, but only if you're doing this one critical thing. You absolutely have to know this. Hey everyone, and welcome to Revitamen. We're going to cover everything you need to know about magnesium and sleep, but make sure you stick around until the end, because the #1 mistake people make with magnesium supplementation is something that shocked even me when I discovered it, and it could be the reason magnesium hasn't worked for you yet. All right, let's not waste any time. The biggest revelation most people don't know about, and we're starting with a huge one, is that magnesium actually regulates your body's master sleep hormone, melatonin. Let me explain why this is so critical. You see, magnesium doesn't just help you relax. It's actually a cofactor in the biochemical pathway that produces melatonin in your brain. Without adequate magnesium, your pineal gland simply cannot manufacture enough melatonin to signal to your body that it's time to sleep. Studies have shown that people with magnesium deficiency often have disrupted circadian rhythms and significantly lower melatonin levels. This means that even if you're doing everything else right, turning off your screens, keeping your room dark, maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, if you're magnesium deficient, your body is biochemically unable to produce the sleep signals it needs. If you can just fix this one thing, you'll already be ahead of 90% of people struggling with sleep issues. And if you thought that was a game changer, you have no idea what's coming. The final piece of information we'll cover is even more important, and it's the reason most people fail to get results from magnesium supplementation, even when they're taking it every single day. Okay, moving on to reason #7 why magnesium is essential for sleep. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Think of your nervous system as having two modes. There's the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response, your stress mode. Then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode. Magnesium is like a switch that helps you transition from that stressed, alert state into the calm, relaxed state. It does this by regulating neurotransmitters and binding to GABA receptors in your brain. GABA is your brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. When magnesium binds to these receptors, it enhances GABA's calming effects, essentially telling your brain and body that it's safe to power down and rest. Without enough magnesium, you're stuck in sympathetic overdrive, which is why you might feel tired but wired, exhausted but unable to actually fall asleep. Your body is physically unable to flip that switch into rest mode. Next up is reason #6. Magnesium reduces cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it's supposed to be high in the morning to wake you up and low at night to help you sleep. But in our modern world, with constant stress, blue light exposure, and irregular schedules, many people have elevated cortisol at night. This is a disaster for sleep. High nighttime cortisol keeps you alert and anxious when you should be winding down. Here's where magnesium comes in. Research shows that magnesium supplementation can significantly reduce cortisol levels, especially that problematic nighttime cortisol spike. One study found that people who supplemented with magnesium had a 25% reduction in cortisol after just 2 weeks. By bringing your cortisol down to appropriate nighttime levels, magnesium removes one of the major barriers preventing you from falling asleep naturally.
Now let's talk about reason #5. Magnesium relieves restless leg syndrome and muscle tension. Have you ever been lying in bed, finally starting to drift off when suddenly your legs start feeling uncomfortable, like you need to move them? That's restless leg syndrome, and it's strongly associated with magnesium deficiency. Magnesium is essential for proper muscle function and relaxation. It acts as a natural muscle relaxant by regulating calcium flow in your muscle cells. When you're low on magnesium, calcium can flood into your muscle cells unchecked, causing them to contract and stay tense. This creates that uncomfortable sensation that disrupts your sleep. Multiple studies have shown that magnesium supplementation can significantly reduce or even eliminate restless leg syndrome symptoms. Beyond that, it helps release general muscle tension throughout your entire body, allowing you to physically relax into sleep rather than lying there feeling tense and uncomfortable. Another crucial one is reason #4. Magnesium regulates your internal body clock. Your circadian rhythm is your body's 24-hour biological clock, and it controls not just when you sleep, but your hormone production, body temperature, and countless other processes. Magnesium plays a direct role in regulating the genes that control your circadian rhythm. Research has discovered that magnesium levels in your cells actually fluctuate throughout the day in rhythm with your circadian clock. When magnesium levels are optimal, your circadian rhythm runs smoothly. But when you're deficient, this rhythm gets disrupted. You might find yourself feeling sleepy at the wrong times, wide awake when you should be tired, or unable to maintain a consistent sleep schedule no matter how hard you try. By ensuring adequate magnesium intake, you're literally giving your body the mineral it needs to keep your biological clock running on schedule. Now here's reason number 3. Magnesium improves deep sleep quality. It's not just about falling asleep, it's about the quality of sleep you get. Sleep happens in cycles, progressing from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep. Deep sleep, also called slow-wave sleep, is when your body does most of its physical repair and restoration. It's absolutely critical for feeling refreshed in the morning. Studies using EEG measurements have shown that magnesium supplementation increases the amount of time spent in deep sleep stages. One study found that participants who took magnesium before bed spent significantly more time in restorative deep sleep and woke up feeling more refreshed, even when total sleep time was the same. This means magnesium doesn't just help you sleep longer, it helps you sleep better, making each hour of sleep more restorative and valuable. Let me share something with you before we get to the number 1 critical factor. Over 70% of people are deficient in magnesium. That's not a small number. That's the majority of the population walking around without adequate levels of this essential mineral. Why is this happening? Our modern diet is a big culprit. Food processing strips magnesium from our foods. The soil our vegetables are grown in is depleted of magnesium compared to decades ago. We consume foods high in sugar and processed carbohydrates that actually deplete our magnesium stores. We're under constant stress, which burns through magnesium rapidly. We drink alcohol and coffee, both of which increase magnesium excretion. Add to this the fact that many common medications, including proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux and diuretics for blood pressure, further deplete magnesium. So even if you think you're eating reasonably healthy, there's a very good chance you're not getting enough magnesium and your sleep is suffering because of it.
And the second to last point, number 2 on our list, is another incredibly important one. Not all magnesium supplements are created equal, and most people are taking the wrong form. This is something I see almost everyone doing, and it's sabotaging your results. Here's what you need to understand. There are many different forms of magnesium supplements: magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, magnesium glycinate, magnesium threonate, magnesium malate, and more. The form matters enormously because different forms have vastly different absorption rates and different effects on your body. Magnesium oxide, which is one of the most common and cheapest forms you'll find in drugstore supplements, has an absorption rate of only about 4%. That means if you take 500 milligrams of magnesium oxide, your body is only actually absorbing about 20 milligrams. The rest passes right through you, often causing digestive upset and diarrhea in the process. For sleep specifically, the best forms are magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate. Magnesium glycinate is bound to the amino acid glycine, which itself has calming properties and promotes sleep. This form is highly absorbable and gentle on the digestive system. Magnesium threonate is the only form that has been shown to effectively cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning it can directly increase magnesium levels in your brain where it's needed for neurotransmitter regulation and sleep. If you've tried magnesium before and it didn't help your sleep, there's a very high probability you were taking the wrong form. Let me also address timing, because when you take magnesium matters. For sleep benefits, you want to take magnesium about 30 minutes to 2 hours before bed. This gives it time to be absorbed and start working on your nervous system and neurotransmitters. Taking it too early in the day means you'll miss the peak effects during your actual bedtime. Taking it right as you're climbing into bed might mean it hasn't had time to absorb before you're trying to fall asleep. That 30-minute to 2-hour window is the sweet spot. Also consider taking it with a small amount of food. While magnesium doesn't need to be taken with a meal, having a little bit of fat can actually improve absorption of certain forms. A handful of nuts or a spoonful of nut butter is perfect. This also helps prevent any potential digestive discomfort that can occur when taking supplements on a completely empty stomach. Now let's talk about dosage, because this is another area where people often go wrong. The recommended daily allowance for magnesium is about 320 milligrams for women and 420 milligrams for men. However, for therapeutic effects on sleep, you might need slightly more. Most studies showing sleep benefits use doses between 200 and 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium taken before bed. It's important to start low and work your way up. Begin with 200 milligrams and see how you respond. You can gradually increase to 400 milligrams if needed. One of the reasons to start low is that too much magnesium, especially if you're not used to it, can cause loose stools or diarrhea. This is actually how your body tells you you've exceeded your absorption capacity. If this happens, simply reduce your dose. Also remember that elemental magnesium is different from the total compound weight. If you see a supplement that says Magnesium Glycinate 500 milligrams, that's not 500 milligrams of elemental magnesium. Check the label for the actual elemental magnesium content. While we're focused on supplementation, it's worth mentioning that you should also be getting magnesium from food sources. Supplements should supplement a good diet, not replace it. Some of the best food sources of magnesium include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, nuts and seeds, especially pumpkin seeds, almonds, and cashews, legumes like black beans and chickpeas, whole grains, avocados, and dark chocolate. Yes, dark chocolate is actually a good source of magnesium, which gives you another excuse to enjoy it. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel also contain magnesium. By combining magnesium-rich foods with the right form of supplementation, you're giving your body multiple pathways to achieve optimal magnesium status.
Let's talk about what you should expect when you start taking magnesium for sleep. This isn't a sleeping pill. You're not going to take it and feel knocked out 30 minutes later. What you should notice is a gradual sense of calm and relaxation. Your mind might feel less busy and racing. Your muscles might feel looser and more relaxed. Falling asleep might come more naturally, rather than lying there forcing it. Some people notice improvements the first night, but for most people, the full benefits build over 1 to 2 weeks of consistent supplementation. This is because you're replenishing depleted stores and giving your body time to restore proper biochemical function. It's not about forcing sleep. It's about removing the magnesium deficiency barriers that were preventing natural sleep from happening. After a few weeks of consistent use, many people report not just falling asleep easier, but staying asleep throughout the night, having fewer middle-of-the-night awakenings, experiencing more vivid dreams, which indicates better REM sleep, and waking up feeling more refreshed and restored. Before we get to the number one most important thing, I need to mention some important considerations. Magnesium is generally very safe, but there are some situations where you need to be cautious. If you have kidney disease, you should not supplement with magnesium without consulting your doctor, because your kidneys might not be able to properly excrete excess magnesium. If you're taking certain medications, particularly antibiotics, bisphosphonates for bone health, or specific heart medications, magnesium can interfere with their absorption or effectiveness. Take magnesium at least 2 to 3 hours apart from these medications. If you're on blood pressure medication, magnesium can have a blood pressure lowering effect, which is generally good, but your doctor might need to adjust your medication dosage. Always inform your healthcare provider about any supplements you're taking. This is especially important if you're on multiple medications or have any chronic health conditions. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The number one mistake that prevents magnesium from working for sleep, the critical thing you must do for magnesium to actually help you sleep better, is this. You must address your calcium-to-magnesium ratio. This is huge, and almost nobody talks about it. Here's what you need to understand. Calcium and magnesium work together in your body, but they need to be in proper balance. Calcium is excitatory.
It stimulates muscle contraction and nerve activity. Magnesium is inhibitory. It promotes muscle relaxation and calms nerve activity. Think of them as the gas pedal and the brake pedal. You need both, but they need to be balanced. In the modern Western diet, we consume way too much calcium relative to magnesium. We're told to drink milk for calcium, eat yogurt for calcium, take calcium supplements for bone health. Meanwhile, magnesium-rich foods have been pushed out of our diet. The ideal calcium-to-magnesium ratio is somewhere between 2:1 and 1:1, but most people are consuming ratios of 5:1, 10:1, or even higher. This creates a major problem. When you have too much calcium relative to magnesium, the calcium essentially overpowers the magnesium. Remember, calcium is excitatory. Excess calcium causes muscles to contract and stay contracted. It keeps nerves firing. It keeps you in that sympathetic, stressed state. No matter how much magnesium you take, if your calcium levels are way too high, the magnesium can't do its job effectively. It's like trying to brake a car while someone is pressing the gas pedal to the floor. This is why some people take magnesium supplements and see minimal improvement in their sleep.
They're not addressing the underlying imbalance. So what do? First, you don't need to eliminate calcium. You need calcium for bone health, muscle function, and many other processes. But you need to stop over-consuming it. If you're taking calcium supplements, especially high-dose ones, consider whether you actually need them. Most people get enough calcium from food. Second, if you consume a lot of dairy products, consider moderating your intake. You don't have to eliminate dairy, but having milk with every meal and snacking on cheese constantly might be throwing your ratio way off. Third, when you supplement with magnesium, make sure you're not simultaneously taking a calcium supplement. Take them at different times of day if you need both. Fourth, increase your consumption of magnesium-rich foods while being mindful of your overall calcium intake. This rebalances things from both ends. When you correct this ratio, magnesium can finally work the way it's supposed to. The calcium stops dominating, the magnesium can exert its calming, relaxing effects, and your nervous system can shift into that parasympathetic rest and digest mode. People who address this calcium-magnesium balance often report dramatic improvements in sleep quality, sometimes after years of insomnia and nothing else working. This is the missing piece that almost nobody talks about, and it could be the entire reason magnesium hasn't worked for you in the past. So there you have it, the complete guide to how magnesium makes you sleep better, but only if you're doing it right. We covered how magnesium regulates melatonin production, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, reduces cortisol, relieves muscle tension and restless legs, regulates your circadian rhythm, improves deep sleep quality, and why most people are deficient. We talked about how not all magnesium supplements are created equal, and why magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate are your best options for sleep. We discussed proper timing, dosage, food sources, and what to expect. And most importantly, we revealed the #1 critical factor. You must balance your calcium-to-magnesium ratio, or else magnesium simply cannot work effectively no matter how much you take. Now, I have a question for you. Have you tried magnesium for sleep before? Did it work for you, or did you not notice much difference? And were you taking the right form? Or were you unknowingly sabotaging yourself with magnesium oxide or an imbalanced calcium ratio? Be honest and let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'm curious to hear about your experiences. If you got value from this video, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.